All right, guys. So, let's get on into it. Joe, feel free to share the slides on your side, my man.
All right,
Joe,
let's do that. And
while
let's
Joe's pulling it up, I'll give Joe a nice warm intro if I haven't greased him up a little bit already. Joe is the president of Paragon and learntogroomdogs.com. He leads the company's educators in providing learning solutions for pet grooming services. All that is a big fancy jargon way to say that he knows what he's talking about. He's helped business owners all across the country grow their businesses and grow their grooming specific businesses. So that's why we brought him here today. It's January. We're all setting our plans for the year. We're past the holiday rush, right? We can finally relax, take a deep breath, and start planning for the year. So that's why Joe's here today. Before I let Joe fully take over, I don't get much mic time, guys, and so I'm gonna do. I want to speak as much as I can. I'm curious. There's a lot of new faces here. I'm really curious how many of you guys have met me before. If you haven't met me, I want you to throw in the chat a big old no. I want to see how many people out there I don't know yet. Because one of the things with the Daily Groomer that I'd like to do is get to know every face and name and where they're at and where you guys are grooming and what kind of rig you're running. Because that helps us guide our content and guide our workshops. Lots of no's. All right, guys, you hurt my feelings a little bit, but I get it. I'm kidding. Joe, you can go ahead and flip to the next
all right.
slide.
Well, hold on. How many people don't know me?
Yeah, there we go. How many people don't know Joe?
How many people know me? Let's just, it might probably be a shorter list. How many people know who I am?
All right, Joe, no need to brag.
No. I'll probably
I'm
only have like one or two
kidding.
people. So,
I'm
I don't
kidding.
know who you are.
There we go. Some of the friendlies, Joe, are coming to your assistance.
all right.
We'll
Hey,
check.
I need support. You're
Yeah,
my
that's
support group. So,
That's
yeah.
all right. Well, Joe, go ahead and flip to the next slide. Because so many of you guys put those gracious no's in the chat, I want to take a second to introduce myself and the Daily Groomer. So I'm Alex. I like to say I'm one of the top dogs at the Daily Groomer, right? The Daily Groomer, for those of you guys that don't know, it's just a professional community for dog groomers out there. We've got a lot of dog grooming business content on how to grow your grooming business, how to grow your pet professionalism. We like to say, right? Because we're all in this together. So we've got a private community where people are sharing this stuff on a daily basis. That's a Facebook link that I'll share at the end if you guys want to join us. We've got unique workshops like this where we'll bring on experts like Joe to teach a little bit of the trade secrets and freebies that he would usually charge for. So let's make sure we give him a big thank you after this. And then we also, once a year, we have this thing called the Top Grooming Business Awards. And it's something fun that we do. There's no large scale industry recognition for all of us that, or all of you out there that are working hard and growing and building your salons and mobile businesses. And so once a year, the community will hold an open application for any grooming business that wants to apply. And the community will give out awards based on certain characteristics. Again, you can find that in our Facebook group if you are curious about that. We're doing the applications right now. All right, Joe, I'm done, man. You can kick me off the mic. I will pop back in towards the end of this with my mic on and retake the reins once we get back to Q&A.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm honored to be here, and I always appreciate everybody's time, right? Because that's one thing that we're short of, right? We're very much often caught in short on time, and we get paid for our time, right? So professional grooming, any services-based business, we do get paid for our time. So you're paying yourself for this time. This is an investment that you're making in yourself, and I just always applaud watching the number of people, the number of faces that come out. I mean, we've got almost 70 people that have come out and said, "Listen, I want to know how I can maybe work smarter and not harder this year. How can I fall back in like with my career, right? How can I reignite the passion of my career?" And I'm honored to be part of this. So, the Daily Groomer, asking me, and I've known these guys for a while, and asking me to be part of this, and especially right at kickoff to the beginning of the year. Perfect timing. I couldn't be more thrilled. We're going to try to leave some time at the end for Q&A, but get that, if you have a question, get it downloaded out of your brain, put it in the chat, and we'll come back around to it, okay? Because sometimes if you're writing and trying to listen at the same time, I don't know about you, but I can't do that at the same time, right? I just can't. It doesn't work that way in my brain. Maybe you're the same way. So put all of your questions in the chat. And here's the thing, it's not just questions about the content that we're going to talk about tonight, because you don't know what the next slides are. I'm the only one, and Daily Groomer, these guys are the only ones that know what these next slides are. So anything pet services related is fair game. So put it in the chat, and we'll try to circle back at the end and try to address those. So let's just kick this off. Let me do a really quick introduction about who I am, because some of you know who I am. Maybe some of you have been to some presentations. Maybe some of you listen to my podcast, the Hey Joe Pet Pro podcast, or maybe some of you have been to Paragon and taken classes there, or Grooming our network, learn2groomdogs.com. You know, this has been my entire career. The pet industry has been my entire career. I started when I was a teenager. Next month, well, I guess next week is the beginning of February. I will have started my 40th year in this business. I was in the full service pet care facility business for about 22 years, the first 22 years of my career. I oversaw 7 very successful grooming, our full service pet care facilities. We would groom, you know, we could board 650 dogs a night. We had almost 200 dogs a day in doggy daycare. We had 22 dog trainers, 60 dog groomers. We did 100,000 grooming appointments a year. We had 2 stretch limousines doing pickup and delivery over the course of time, shuttle vans. I mean, it was busy. It was very busy. But you know what's really great is that you know, I started as a teenager in the business, but I really got to grow up and I got to see this evolution happening in this profession. And that's what all of you are in. This is a profession. This is a career. This isn't just a job. I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say that most of you do this because you love what you do. You have a passion for this. So I just want to let you know, I appreciate you. I understand you. I understand where you're coming from. And I've had the pleasure of standing in front of you and business owners. Sometimes you're the same, for many years. I get invited to do speaking engagements. This career has taken me all over the world. I spoke in China and Hong Kong and South Korea and Italy and UK and Canada. I mean, yeah, it's just been a wild ride. First 22 years in the services space, the next 10 years in the product space as director of innovation for a pet grooming and dental company, a products company. And now in 2 days, I will celebrate my 7th anniversary at Paragon, leading a wonderful team of educators growing tomorrow's groomers. So with all of that said and all of that out of the way, what I'd like to do is just share some of what I have encountered, some of the things that I've experienced. And really, I wish I could say I was an original author of all of this content. But let's just face it, the best business practices is sort of a salad bowl, sort of a compilation, these little things that we pick up along the way, mostly driven by failure. And it's okay. Failure is part of learning, right? If you don't fail, I really challenge you. I don't know if you're really learning, right? So we embrace failure. We embrace that. And that's what I encourage you to do. Everybody here is at a different point, right? Everybody's success meters measured from a different starting point and a different finishing point. So it's very personal to you. So hopefully after spending a little bit of time together tonight, maybe you find that one little aha moment, that one little tidbit, right? That one little thing. If that aha moment comes sooner rather than later, put it in the chat, like mind blown, right? I don't know. Maybe I'll just be the most boring evening you've ever had. I don't think that'll be the case, but any of you that know me can come to my rescue if that's the case. But like Alex said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm doing an in-person owners conference in March, which we'll tell you a little bit more about at the end. But it's a 2-day intensive owners conference that is it's going to be spectacular. So very close to a small group of people. But tonight is just giving you a little snippet, just something that you can take and that you can make work. You know, every time I get in front of a group of people, my job is to make sure that you have something tomorrow that you can use. Tomorrow. This isn't just theoretical. This isn't just conceptual. These are things just down and dirty. Like you can do these things tomorrow. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not a brain surgeon, right? I didn't take calculus and trigonometry and all of those fancy math classes. I love this industry because I don't have to think at that level, right? We get to provide awesome service to awesome people and awesome pets. And I still believe we're in the best industry on the planet. So you're going to be able to take some of these things away and talk tomorrow. You know, when I ask people, how do you make more money? How do you generate more revenue? These are the 2 answers that are the most popular. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. This is the way that a lot of businesses, especially service businesses, our service businesses in grooming, professional grooming, say, we've got to do more dogs. And that'll raise our revenue 1 year to the next. Okay, I'll give you that. Sure, that'll have an impact. We need to raise prices. That'll give us, even if we didn't do any more dogs, if we raise prices, then we're going to make more revenue. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that as well. But that's not the only 2 ways to do a bigger business this year. than you did last year. I mean, let's face it, many of your businesses, and I'm sure many of you, I'm sure many of you out there might be in big demand. Maybe you can't take new customers. Maybe your business is full. Maybe your books are full, right? So for me to come in and say to you, hey, you need to make more money, just do another dog a day, do another 2 dogs a day, do another day a week, right? Well, that's not necessarily fair. And let's face it, for all of you that are active groomers and not just owners of businesses, but for all of you that are active groomers, I get it. It's a physical job, right? I did a podcast with Dr. Finney, who's a chiropractor, and he said it is like professional Olympics. Grooming is like the Olympics, in that your body takes a beating, right? You're tired. But if you're not careful, you're going to have an expiration date that happens sooner than what you were planning on in your career. Okay. My job is to come in and say, let's feel fulfilled and let's feel successful and let's be paid what we're worth in our industry, right? But let's take the bull by the horns and control what we can control. So yes, while these are the two ways that you can generate more revenue, and there are more traditional answers, there's more ways to do this. And really, the very first one is add-ons. I share this with you, to share that add-ons are really the driving force behind the most profitable revenue we can bring into our grooming business, right? Add-ons. Ideally, what happens is any add-on that we provide has to be profitable. It has to be the most profitable. I call it money per minute, right? So every dollar we charge for an add-on should be the greatest amount of money per minute that we can get. We have our core services like full service baths, full service grooms, tidy ups and maintenance trims and all maintenance, all of these things. But add-ons are special. Add-ons are special. And now don't be freaked out about add-ons because we're going to talk about add-ons. Now, some of you might have all-inclusive businesses and such. The challenge with an all-inclusive business is, in many cases, you may not be charging as much as you could be charging if you were not an all-inclusive. And sometimes we're taking the decision-making power away from the customer. And if we do it right, the customer will opt into more add-ons that we recommend versus just including them because we feel like we need to be this all-inclusive experience, right? So customers want to have involvement in their pet's care. So I'm going to encourage you to maybe think about it that way. So add-ons, and again, there's lots of different reasons why we do add-ons, but here are really the top 3. Again, a lot of this is just the tip of the iceberg that we'll be able to unpack at greater length in a future date. But just remember, these are some of the top rules. Add-ons must be the most money per minute that you generate in your business. It enhances the pet's experience. Don't think of add-ons as a money grab, right? If you're offering the right add-ons, it should enhance the pet's experience. It should allow the pet parent to say, you know what? I'd like dessert with my meal. I'm not going to stop at just the steak, right? It enhances the night out, it enhances date night, whatever that is. The same is true for allowing them to enhance their pet's experience in your business. And this is going to make even more sense in the next slide. But it gives the customer options, gives the customers options. And if we make those decisions for the customers, we're taking that power or that ability away from them. Okay. So I have what I call add-on rules. These are the guardrails for add-ons, right? So all of the add-ons that you currently offer, I'm going to ask that you go back to your business tomorrow or get on your website tonight and see if these things, if these rules, if maybe you've colored outside the lines of some of these rules, right? For example, yeah, there's 3, and we're going to talk about these 3. We're going to unpack these briefly right now. But there's like 7 more rules, right? But these are the sort of the hot button ones, right? The very first one is, and really this is the cardinal rule. This is the absolute most important rule of all add-ons, is that it must benefit the pet or the pet parent. It must benefit the pet or the pet parent. Why? Well, one, that means we're doing something good for the pet or the pet parent, right? But the other piece is, if it doesn't benefit the pet or the pet parent, your chances of that add-on being purchased by the customers is greatly diminished. Okay, makes sense, right? If we think about it. Now, I use this example, and it's sometimes, an example that I use, and sometimes people are like, well, I want to do that. I use an extreme example, green mohawks, right? Some of us say, well, I offer green mohawks in my business as an add-on. Well, that's really great. But it violates the number one rule, in my opinion, right? Is must benefit the pet or pet parent. Now, if your whole brand is built on green mohawks, then keep doing green mohawks, right? But I'm guessing most of your brands are not based on green mohawks. Okay. Yeah. And that also sort of picks up coloring and toenail polishing and all of those things, stenciling and bedazzling and all of that. Think about the money per minute, right? Go back to the money per minute. And how about the mess per minute? Right? Especially when we get into coloring and everything like that, right? So every minute you spend doing something that's less money per minute than even your core service or other add-ons, you're missing revenue opportunity, right? We get paid for our time and our expertise. Okay. Now, if you're known for creative grooming and color work and everything, listen, it's your business. You get to make whatever decision you want to make, right? But I'm telling you, if you want the greatest conversion, you do something that must benefit the pet or the pet parent. So that's rule number one. Another rule is too many is just too many. You do not win if you have 10 or 12 add-on offerings, right? If I walked into your business and saw a sign that looked like I was walking up to a snow cone shack with 200 different flavors, right? There's an adage that I was taught a long time ago, a confused mind never buys. A confused mind never buys. So too many can just be too many. But because we try to be marketers, because we try to do a better job, this is a mistake we make very innocently, is that we felt like if we put 10 things on the board, they're surely to pick one. Well, I got news for you. If you put 4 things on the board, they're surely to pick one, right? In fact, they're more apt to pick one because you don't have to go through all of they don't have to read all of the 10. They don't have to ask questions about all of the 10, and you don't have to introduce all of the 10. But wouldn't it be a whole lot easier if you had 3 or 4 of the most popular and greatest chance of them purchasing? Yeah, right. Instead of the fringe ones. So I would encourage you, do yourself a favor. Get simple, get small. It's okay. Your customers will not respond negatively to that. In fact, I think they're gonna, I know I've proven it, they'll respond favorably. The third rule of the many rules that I have for add-ons that I want to share tonight is consider naming your add-ons with the end results in mind. What I mean by this is, I've walked into businesses before and they have the preppy puppy package or the rock and roll service or the fancy paws or the da. You know what the question that customers ask? Well, what is that? You say, oh, that's our toenail service, or it's our nail service. Well, then just say it's a nail service. You remember, we get paid for our time. We're not there to kind of frill things up. The customer's not going to bite on that. And if they do, they're going to ask you a question that you could have answered in the beginning. Right? Let me pick on one. Let's see. I'll pick on one like nail filing, right? Nail filing. Notice I don't call it nail grinding, right? Again, if we're naming it with the end results in mind, customers can't relate to that. They're not going to their manicurist and getting their nails ground, right? Or even dremeling. That's even better, right? Oh, we Dremel. Customers don't know what Dremel is. Or if they did, they're going to think of it's a rotary, it's a tool that's in their workshop in their garage. And the last time they saw that being used, they were cutting holes in things, right? When we know that if it's used safely by a trained professional, it's the best way to file nails, right? Dremel is a brand of a rotary tool. It's not a verb. So do yourself a favor and just speak simple. Customers appreciate simple speak. So go back to the services that you offer and say, is that common speak? Even better, there's what I call the 5th grader rule. When I don't understand something, I ask somebody to speak to me like I'm a 5th grader. Right? You don't have to use big fancy words or industry jargon to impress your customers. They don't expect that. They don't want that. So if you know a 5th grader in your life and you say what you do, and the 5th grader can get you pretty close with an explanation, then you know you're on track. Okay? And again, any questions you guys have, or hey, it's okay. Politely push back. If you say, Joe, I think you're crazy, right? All right, put it in the chat. Let's talk about it. Let's unpack it. All right. You wouldn't be the first person. Call me crazy, but give me an opportunity to help convince you. Right? Okay. All right. Add-ons, right? That the stigma of add-ons is, well, I'm terrible at selling. Great. Because we don't want you to sell, right? We don't want salespeople. We want people that do a really great job of recommending, right? Recommending. I'm not going to ask everybody to raise their hand, but I would bet a majority of us have probably purchased something in the recent, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, month, that we read a star rate, or we looked at a star rating that influenced our purchase decision, or we read reviews, or or maybe we did both. Think about how powerful this is. We're going to part from the money that we worked very hard to earn to buy something, and we're going to trust the reviews and star ratings of complete strangers. I mean, think about that. It's crazy, right? However, think about how much more powerful it is if it was somebody you knew who's saying, hey, I just bought this, or hey, I just ate at this restaurant, or hey, I just did this experience or went on this vacation. You should try it for yourself. Are they selling you? No, they're recommending. What a great position. Now, I'm just giving you a get out of jail free card. You do not. In fact, I don't want you to be a salesperson. Don't sell. Just get really good at recommending. Why is this important? Because we can all recommend really, really well. If I was in a room with all of you and I said, I would usually pick on somebody, right? I would usually pick on somebody and say, tell me the last thing you purchased that you couldn't wait to tell friends or family about, or the last restaurant you ate at, or the last vacation you took, or whatever that is. You came back and you're like, I had one lady in one of the presentations. She's like, I have this awesome new mascara. And like the whole room turned around and asked her, why is it awesome? She naturally went into, well, because now I have no idea what she was talking about. Right. But those who mascara is important to probably went out and bought that mascara that night. So even something as small as that. So don't sell. Give yourself a break. Just do better at recommending. And anybody who employs people, any of you owners or managers that are part of this seminar tonight, this webinar tonight, if you have staff that works for you, odds are they're not really good at selling either. And that's okay. Let's just all get really good at recommending. Okay. So how can we do this the very best, right? The very best is we should offer add-ons and services that we believe in. That is like in here believe, right? In here believe. Because if it's in here believe, recommending comes easy. If it's not in here believe, it's not conviction, right? So only offer the services that you believe in. And that might actually even shave, I guess, pun intended, not intended, but that might shave some of the add-ons off of your list because you're like, you know what? I've always hated toenail polishing. Good. Get rid of it. I would bet only 6 people a year buy it anyway. Okay. Now, again, if your shop's known for bedazzling and toenail polishing, and that's what you do $50,000 a month in toenail, but don't stop toenail polishing. But I doubt that's most of you. Okay. All right. And again, some of you are asking questions. Great. We're going to get back to these. That's great. Keep them coming, right? Keep them coming. All right. So how do we, just like with add-ons, right? We talked about why do add-ons, and we talked about some of the rules of add-ons. We talked about not selling and shift to recommending. Yes, I have these 3 rules for recommending with conviction, but I also have the additional 6 that we cover in more of an expanded time together. But these are some of the top 3. Because Alex said, listen, you can't talk to these people for 5 hours or 3 days or whatever, right? You got to get this in 45 minutes or so. So he asked me to narrow this down. Okay, so it was hard to pick, but these are the 3 that I chose for you for tonight. This is one that's really difficult, but must be done. Remove yourself from the spending equation. I share this story. I do not live in a mansion. I just happen to live 10 minutes from a Lamborghini dealer. I really do. Every town has that luxury car row, right? Okay. And I go by the Lamborghini deal. I love looking in the windows, right? Because I doubt it's ever anything that I'll ever be able to realize or drive. But to make my point, I bet the people that are selling Lamborghinis can afford a Lamborghini themselves. But I bet they do really good at selling Lamborghinis. My point is just because you cannot or will not afford something that you're offering your customers doesn't mean you don't offer your customers that service, right? And this is really difficult, right? Here's a couple of common mistakes that I tie this to. Uh, uh, if let's say we're offering a service that costs a customer an additional $20, and we would never or could never spend an extra $20 on a service for ourselves or for our dogs or whatever, right? It might cause us to hesitate recommending that service. But we've got to get past that, because if we don't, we're actually doing a disservice to our customers. We're making that decision for them. Remember, stay away from that. That's a trap. Don't make the decision for them. Here's another quick example. Another quick example is another quick example is, you know, Mrs. Smith, the little 80-year-old woman that comes walking in with her, 80-year-old dog, right? And we look at her and we say, well, and she might even mention, I'm on a fixed income, should we recommend add-ons? Yeah. Because you know what? I've had people pull up in front of my facilities before in a car that looks like they live in it and come in and drop $100, $200, $1,000 on their dog. It's not up to us how they appropriate their funds and how they prioritize how they spend their money. That's not our decision. Our decision is to recommend services that don't violate rule number 1, which is must benefit the pet or the pet parent. If we don't violate that, then there's no shame in recommending what could benefit the pet or the pet parent. Let them decide. Don't profile. Okay. Now, for all of you owner, operator, managers out there, this might come easier to you. For all of the employees that we've got on this webinar, or if you employ others, this may come a little bit tough for you, and that's okay. But just remember, you're doing them a disservice by not offering them. Okay. Number 2, don't resell the sold. What I mean by this is if they bought it last time, don't ask them if they want to buy it again. Okay. Here's how this sounds, right? Hey, Mrs. Smith, great. We're going to do the same haircut we did last time, and we're going to go ahead and do the fresh breath treatment. Hey, this time of year, is he doing any extra scratching? Should we do the healthy skin and coat treatment this time? You see what I did is I asked for a service that they didn't get last time, but I confirmed what they got last time. I confirmed the haircut and I confirmed the fresh breath treatment. Yes, that's my way of, that's a dental treatment that's different and should replace teeth brushing for reasons we'll share at another time, right? But what I did not ask for that fresh breath treatment again. You see, the difference between a statement and a question is that when you ask a question, you're giving yourself a 50-50 chance of a no. With a statement, to confirm something that they already bought last time, your chances of them getting it again are up in the, I've done this. This is not just shooting from the hip. 80% or better. So here's the difference in the statements. We're going to do the same haircut as last time, Mrs. Smith. Great. We're going to do the fresh breath treatment. Hey, is he itching at all? Now you notice I'm not going past there to dupe them, but I'm just confirming. I would spend about the same amount of time confirming that we're going to do the same haircut. If they don't want the fresh breath treatment this time, they'll tell me. So don't resell the sold. Just do yourself a favor. You're going to give yourself at least a 30% greater chance of them purchasing that add-on again. And don't feel dirty about it. They bought it one time. If they don't want it again, they'll tell you. Okay. All right. The third rule that I chose for tonight's webinar is ask every question every time. You'll do yourself a favor if you want to follow this rule. Don't have 10 add-ons, because if you're going to follow this rule, you're going to be asking for 10 things, right? Pick 3, maybe 4, maybe it's 2, but ask every question every time. Just get in a routine. What's really great about this is that once this is a routine, it's just going to start happening naturally, right? You're not going to get into, well, which one should I ask? Should I ask this? Should I ask that? I don't know. Should I ask? And for all of you owner operators and managers out there, if you've got staff, you can stand across the room. If they've only got 2 or 3 questions to ask every time, You could stand across the room, do what I did, got really great at dusting the lobby with big ears, right? Listening to see if my staff asked every question every time. And if they didn't, I would go, hey, here, what you did with Mrs. Brown's check-in was awesome. Really, really great job. Hey, what gets you hung up about asking about the Healthy Skin and Co treatment? Because you didn't ask her. Well, I just thought, okay, well, let's work through that. Okay. All right. And so you'll be doing yourself and your staff a big favor. Again, keep putting questions in. I see we've got questions started generating in a chat box, and that's really great. Keep them coming. Get them out of your head, get them in the chat box so that you can listen with concentration. So add-ons, as we talk about add-ons, does it add up? Absolutely. Even if the average add-on is only $10, right? If let's say you did 125 appointments per week, okay, 125 appointments, you know, if you split that out by how many tables, you know, if each table did 6 appointments a week, right, or 6 appointments a day, 6 days a week, that's 36, right? So, you know, this is what, 3, I think we figured this on a 3-station grooming salon, okay, at 125 appointments a week. All right. The average add-on being $10. If you could convert, that's what we call it when you get the sale, right? When you get the recommendation inked on the ticket for the pet. It's a 50% conversion success rate, which would be 63 add-ons. If your average add-on is only $10, which is very reasonable, okay, in 50 weeks, that's $31,500. Remember, we started this with, how do I make more revenue without working harder? Well, you do this. $31,500 worth of revenue. What would you do in your business if you had an additional $32,000 worth of revenue? I tell you what I would do if I had people that work for me. This might pay them the health insurance. This might pay for PTO. This might pay for equipment. This may pay for an expansion. This might pay for new equipment, whatever it is. It might pay your van payment if you're mobile, right? So why 50 weeks? I know I'm not a moron. I know there's 52 weeks in a year, but we have snow days and holidays and PTO days and off days and the sewer backed up day and the hot water heater exploded day, right? So I always give myself a break, give you a break, figure on 50 weeks a year. Okay. Helps you from missing your goals if you consider doing the math that way. So we're coming up on enough time to start answering some questions and such. Alex, you want to answer questions, do Q&A before talking about the event, or you want me to talk about the event? Which would you prefer?
Let's go right into Q&A. It seems pretty hot. I've been watching the chat over here.
All right, so we're gonna go to this, but we're gonna circle back at the very end to give you more information about the conference then. So let's go over to, let me go over to the, whoops, where did you go?
This is the portion, guys. We're gonna look through the chat right now. Feel free to just chime in. Everyone can unmute, put on their cameras. Joe, if you want to stop sharing, well, we
Oh,
can
yes, absolutely. Let's do that.
reshare once it's kind of
Okay.
time to get the recording and time to talk about the event. All right.
All right, Ada, I would love to meet with you one-on-one. You'll get my contact information shared. So what a great way to start Q&A, right? Great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I actually own a grooming school in Orlando, and I want to pick your brain.
Ah, very cool. All right, a fellow educator. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Is it my end that's lagging? I don't know. That was a few minutes ago, so hopefully it caught up.
Yeah, let's start with bundling
yeah.
add-on packages. There was a
Okay.
long thread here about what you know and what you've seen about, you know, the package concept where you're bundling add-ons in. I know you mentioned it a little bit with maybe like, you know, the princess package or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah. So and again, you know, this is my experience. It's your business. You can decide to do whatever you want. But I will tell you, I let McDonald's have bundles, not grooming businesses. I'm not a big fan of packages and bundles, right? Customers know what you're doing. What ends up happening, especially, you know, if we have to give them a cutesy name, like, you know, the skin relief package or the princess puppy package, or, you know, all of these kind of cutesy names, you know, these little pet names that we give it, the customer is going to say, well, what's included in that? Or can you give me some more information on it? By the time they ask that question, again, we're busy. We got to get to work, right? Or we got to take care of the next customer. If we're inviting ourselves and the customer into a more elaborate conversation because we've bundled something together, right? We're sort of wasting our time and theirs. So let's, in my opinion, bundles had their day. You know, the 90s called, they want their bundles back, quite honestly. Right? So if you have 2 or 3 add-ons, really you don't even need a bundle anymore. Okay, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah,
You
there
can
was a
always-
lot of people time getting that thread. So if anyone does a follow-up there.
Hey, this is Erin with Tailored Tales of Lubbock. Hey, Alex. I just want to, I'm not going to turn my video on because I had surgery this morning, so I look terrible.
Oh.
But I just want to say that, I mean, I kind of disagree, Joe. We have actually implemented the Royal package, which includes very basic stuff. I mean, you're getting the teeth brushing, you're getting the bandana, which we no longer offer for free because fabric has gotten ridiculously expensive. And we do a paw rub that we make in-house. It's our own product, so it promotes that product as well. And it's $7 more than the teeth brushing by itself. It also includes the blueberry facial. So they're able to save a lot of money on the add-ons, and we're able to make a lot of money on something that doesn't cost very much. And we've had a lot of success with this. We've had it for about a year now, and I would say 95 to 97% of our clients choose to upgrade when they ask for a teeth brushing to the Royal package. So I think that there is a place for it. It kind of depends on your market, I would say.
You know, Erin, first off, thanks for being here on a day of surgery. Gee whiz, right? And if you can't have your camera on, right? I mean, heck, you know, I don't know what work you had done, but I appreciate your presence here, and I appreciate the comment. I appreciate the feedback. And to your point, Erin, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? Maybe even in your market, right? So, listen, if you can be, and remember, going back to recommending with conviction, if you can recommend bundles with conviction and be able to speak to them and make them successful, then I'm going to just say, Erin, you're in the minority of people that are able to do that successfully. Most of the time, in my experience, most of the time, bundles are created as a crutch, right? To sort of, hopefully the customer will opt into the bundle themselves. And sometimes bundles are too expensive for some customers. So again, if you're able to do that with conviction, more power to you. I think that's awesome. Another maybe hybrid approach that I've seen is sort of a buy 3, get, you know, 50% off, get a certain, not a percent, but a certain dollar amount off, right? Or buy 2, get 1, you know, something like that, right? That's sort of a twist on, you know, a different approach to a bundle. But the main thing that the main thing that I like, Erin, what you talked about, the Royal package, right? I could see that connecting a little bit better than a cutesy, you know, the preppy puppy, rock and roll, skater dog, whatever, you know. I mean, I've just seen some that are just really just out of control, and it just confuses the customer. So if you're able to do that and not confuse the customer and you're successful, great. And maybe even consider, you know, for all of the others that are kind of, well, which way do I go? Maybe even a hybrid approach of the buy 2, get 1, or the, you know, some reward for volume buying. So
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm gonna chime in again. Sorry. I think you're right too about we do that a lot with play care. You know, if you buy 10 days as a package, you get 10% off, 20 days, 20% off, all the way up to 30. So we do that with play care. And I think, you know, when you're talking about adding memberships, and things like that, I mean, there are ways to do it that are a little bit more modern. And I think that you're absolutely right when it comes to like knowing your clientele, knowing your market. What service is your specialty? What groom are you doing the most of? What would be something that those clients specifically, the majority of your client, I mean, it really comes down to data gathering about your clients and about your market, and knowing what they are actually going to be interested in, I think makes a huge difference.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. And again, you know, when we talk about, you know, when we talk about add-ons, remember your favorite 4-letter F word for add-ons, right? Okay. Should not be what you're thinking, right? But if you're going to offer anything free in your business to attract a new customer or to spiff or to reward a customer, it should always be an add-on, not money off your core services.
Can I chime in on that? So the only free service we offer for people that may be shopping for a groomer in the area is I will do a free consultation for 15 minutes talking about your coat, the care, and teaching you how to upkeep your dog at home. Whether that's a customer or that is somebody coming in and like, oh, so I have I'm in a low income area. And a lot of people struggle with paying for add-ons and all that good stuff. The only free thing I offer is putting it on the customer. Is how to take care of your dog at home, how to brush your dog at home. That is it. I don't offer anything else. But a lot of people send people to my store because we offer low cost grooming. Not for my groomers, but as a school, we offer low cost
Sure.
grooming so students can learn. So the only free thing that we offer is I'll teach you how to brush your dog.
Yep. Yeah. And I can appreciate that, right? That's because you're an educator, right? But
Right,
remember,
that's my
15
point. It's offer
minutes of your time, right? 15 minutes of your time is very expensive.
it
That's
should be
that's a
expensive for any groomer.
well, so something to just to keep in mind, just something to kind of just something to noodle on, as I call it, right? Is that we are the experts in our service field, and customers are happy to pay us for our expertise, which includes grooming. It would be similar if you went to get your oil changed at the car dealer or the mechanic, and they said, we'd love to be able to spend some time with you to teach you how to take care of your car maintenance in between maintenance. I only want to drive my car, right? So the more we can put ourselves in a position of being the pet expert so that our customers, and really what's the success rate, right? How many customers really do brush their dogs, trim their dogs' nails? They don't, right? So I mean, really the reality is
They
a majority
don't,
of them
they
won't,
choose to pay me the $25 a week to brush their dog.
right? Yeah. So my point in that is if you talk about 50, look, talk about you're giving away really fruitless minutes, because really are they going to do it? Probably not. And they're paying you to be the expert. So all right. What
Crystal's comment about, I think this is right up your alley, about paying your staff. Crystal,
yeah, do you have any words of wisdom as far as paying staff a living wage? I've taken a lot of classes on this and I still struggle, especially since like my grooming staff to make $30 an hour in brick and mortar. Maybe that's unrealistic, but I live in Chicago and it's expensive city. Yeah, the solution here is average ticket price. Average ticket price, because I could pay a groomer 50%, but if my average ticket price is $40, they're only gonna make $20. I could pay a groomer 40% of an $80 ticket price, and they're gonna make more than a 50% groomer. So, commissions and things like that are just sort of, a little bit of hocus pocus in some cases, right? So absolutely embracing the idea of elevating your ability to recommend add-ons is huge. Because again, everybody's making more money per minute when we get more add-on revenue, right? So that's one way. Average ticket price has got to be at or above, just slightly above your experience level, right? So, and I not knowing your market, but if you are you live in Chicago, an expensive city, yeah, if you're in an expensive city, everybody else there is used to spending a lot more money too. Why are you so low? You shouldn't be that low, right? For example, and this is what I tell people all the time, if you could do a Shih Tzu in an hour, right? You can groom a Shih Tzu in an hour 15 minutes, the average groom, right? A regular pet quality groom. And let's say it takes you an hour 15, and let's say your Shih Tzu fee is $80 for the full service haircut. You have a doodle that comes walking in, and let's say that doodle takes twice as long. Again, I didn't go to school for like calculus or trigonometry or whatever, but if it takes me twice as long, remember Joe's lesson of money per minute, how much do you think we should charge the doodle if our Shih Tzu is $80 an hour or for an appointment? Well, the doodle should be $160. If you're not charging $160, just do 2 Shih Tzus. Right? And again, know your market, know where you need to be competitive with your pricing, but most often we have big hearts in our business and we leave a lot of money on the table because we're not charging what we should be charging for our expertise. So, It is a much, that is a much, a deeper conversation to unpack all of the elements, but that's sort of the highlights of an answer that might steer you, Crystal, in the right direction.
So maybe one last question here as we round the end of Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Melody asked, when asking for reviews from clients, should we ask for reviews of specific add-ons and services? Maybe like your takeaway on how to ask for reviews and what you actually say.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of inviting our customers to leave a review. I live by the rule, don't ask, don't get, right? So now ideally they do it voluntarily, which is awesome, right? But I love asking, listen, if you loved our service, can you help us tell others about it? Because we'd appreciate your support to help us grow our business. It's amazing when you ask your customers to help you. Remember, use the word help. It's amazing how many people are like, yeah, I want to get behind that, right? Right? My opinion matters. Yeah, sure it does, right? Now I know Google also now provides these little plastic placards that you can put like on your counter and says, scan this QR code to leave us a review. Right? So that's a nice way of saying, can you help us by leaving a review? Right? And again, I love doing that. I love saying, listen, let's all serve the greater good. Would you mind helping us by sharing your comments and your review about your experience so that we can tell other people about what we do here, or you can share your experience so that they know where they can bring their pets to have that same level of care. Because I will tell you, we all use Google reviews, we all use star ratings, we all use referrals, but I also encourage you police that. And if there's a customer that's at all a bit sideways, you are all over that with over satisfying them, surprising them with the solution. What do they expect? They expect to get their refund. Sure. But do they expect to get the next grooming for free? Probably not. But you might consider that. Because the lifetime value of a grooming customer is somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. Is it worth another $80 to get a second swing at the bat to take care of them and make them happy again? Probably.
All right, guys, we're getting near the end of Joe's time here. Like he's been echoing throughout this whole thing, time is money. And like I said, Joe is supposed to give this talk paid. But I had him come on and share these freebies with us, 3 of those 10 add-on tips. So Joe, tell us where we can learn more about some of these tips if we want to.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, I'm doing an owners, what I'm calling an owners conference, or owners and managers conference in March. So here in about 2 months, a little bit less than 2 months, March 19th and 20th. It's right here in St. Louis. It's a 2-day, very intensive workshop based type of course. I call it Get Serious About Grooming, because if you want to invest in yourself, consider coming to this. It's an investment. It absolutely is an investment. But this tonight was just a taste of what you're going to get. You're going to have a return on your investment within days. The clients that I work with absolutely report that. So it will be the same for you as well. You'll be surrounded by a very small group of other business owners and managers at this conference. So the dynamics of groupthink will be awesome. And you're going to have, again, 2 full days of, this was just a taste, 2 full days of this. You can go to heyjoepetpro.com. I have just a limited number of seats. Listen, I'm only inviting 25 people. So I have a limited number of seats left, and I would love to see some of you at that early bird registration is still, discounts are still available. Some of the highlights, just to cover what's on the menu or the agenda, is who are the people that we do business with, right? Who are the people inside and outside of our business? We'll unpack all of the rest of the add-ons. We'll talk about productivity, how to improve productivity, profitability. Yes, we will tackle pricing. And we will help understand, how do we have basic and simple pricing, goal setting and budgeting, efficiency. How do we work smarter and not harder, especially if we have staff that's working for us? Well, how do we help them maximize their income potential? The big one, right? Schedule management. What are the different types of schedules, and how do we maximize schedules so we're not burning ourselves or other people out? Finding, hiring, and keeping groomers. So if you're looking to grow your business, this is a very important part of it. Training your staff, and there's just so much more. It's just going to be pretty great. Again, go to heyjoepetpro.com to the events tab and get yourself signed up. Would love to have you and see you here.
Thanks, Joe.
You better
And for
run.
everyone that stayed on for the entire thing, I got a little treat for you guys. Joe, if you go to the next slide. I know how much information Joe just thrown at us, and you guys can't see this on my side, but I've got a full notepad that I was just taking notes on. So what I'm going to do is after this, if you guys go ahead and scan that code, or I'll put this in the chat, we'll go ahead and throw the recording and a nice guide, like a one-page guide is what I like to do, just so it's digestible of all the things that Joe shared today. But we'll go ahead and throw that in the private Facebook community there. Joe is in that group as well. So any questions that we did not get to today, Joe's there, and we know his time's expensive, but he always seems to find time to pop in the group and answer questions. So get to the group. I just put the Facebook share link in our meeting chat. Feel free to reach out to me or Joe if you guys need any questions or need any help signing up for anything here. Thank you guys so much for spending time with us this evening. I know it was it's always hard to get on the computer after a long day out in the field. So I appreciate everyone that can.
Yes, thank you all. I wish you the very best this year in your business, and I would look forward to meeting you and working with you.
All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording. We'll leave this up here for a couple more minutes just so everyone's got some time. But like I said, feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you. Amazing.